Hello, everyone. So, welcome to the third chapter, that is the terminologies or the concepts related to the equity and the debt market. So, let us begin, and I hope that you have done the revision for the first two chapters as well. Okay, so let us begin. The third chapter is about the terms used in the equity market, the terms used in the debt market, and the different types of bonds and also their features. Well, as we had already discussed in the last chapter, that equity and debt are components of the capital structure of a company, or rather, they are different sources of finance. For example, if an investor or a company wants to start with 100 rupee worth of the entire capital, then out of that 100, if the investor or the company's promoters or the owners bring in 70 rupees and borrow that the remaining 30 from the outside market, from various financial institutions, from banks, from the informal finance institutions such as your friends, self-help groups, etc., then that portion, which is 30, is related to the debt on which the company must pay a fixed rate of interest, or a fixed interest which needs to be deductible, which needs to be deducted in the income statement. However, on equity, what you get is the returns which are arrived from the net operating activities of the business, or the net profit divided by the weighted average number of outstanding shares. So on equity, it is usually the dividend that an investor can earn, or also a part of the profits after the preference shareholders and the other third party liabilities have been paid. So we now know what the equity market is about, what the debt market is about. Equity represents the ownership in the business. However, debt is an external element, or it represents the long-term borrowings of the business. Right. So let me walk you through this chapter just as we had done in the previous chapter. I'll walk you through paragraph by paragraph, and wherever I feel that it is important for me to explain that concept, I will explain in detail. Securities market enable the investors to deploy their surplus funds in investment instruments that are predetermined for their features, issued under the regulatory supervision, and in most cases liquid in the securities market. Fine. So this explains that the securities markets helps or enables the investors to deploy or to use their surplus funds in various investment instruments that are predefined for their features. So before a security market investor want to invest their money in the market, they have all the provisions that allow them to gather enough understanding on the features of these various instruments available, and basis the feature, the time horizon, the liquidity, the transaction cost, etc., they can make their investment decisions. Right. So there are majorly two types of securities that are issued by the seekers of capital from the investors, equity and debt. So the two types of major securities that are issued by the seekers of capital. So who is the seekers of capital here? The seekers of capital are referred to as those financial institutions, those corporate companies that are in need of the funds. So anyone who is in need of funds, or is in need of capital to start its operations, is called the seeker of funds. So the two type of securities जो कोई भी company issue कर सकती है to raise funds from the investors. Now those investors can be the shareholders, it can be other third party liabilities, or the debt holders, the debenture holders, the credit rating agencies, etc., who might have an interest in the business, right? So majorly it is categorized into equity and debt. Equity is further categorized into equity share capital, preference share capital, etc. However, debt is more from a long-term perspective and attracts a fixed rate of interest which needs to be paid by the organization, irrespective of whether they earn a profit or a loss. When a business needs capital to fund its operations, it makes a choice between these two types of securities. So whether to invest in equity or debt is at the hands of the business, and they must decide the optimal capital structure at which they will be able to function more smoothly, right? Equity capital is available for the company to use as long as it is needed. Debt capital will have to be returned after the specific time. So as I already explained, that debt capital is external to the business and it attracts a fixed rate of interest. So the principal plus the interest amount has to be paid back to the original lenders. Equity investors do not enjoy any fixed return or return on principal invested. However, the debt investors earn a fixed rate of interest and return on the principal at the maturity. So if it's a 10-year loan, then at the end of the 10-year, what will the borrowers have to pay? The borrowers will have to pay the principal amount plus the additional interest, which is attributable to the total amount of debt. Equity investors are the owners of the business. अब equity investors को हम owners क्यों बोलते हैं? They are called the owners because So basically they are actually called the residual owners of the business. उनको residual owners हम इसलिए बोलते हैं because they are the ones who will be paid after all the other stakeholders have been paid, right? In case of a liquidation of a company, or in case there is an agreement in which the company has to have some restructuring happening inside the firm. Debt investors are lenders to the business. Why are debt investors lenders to the business? Because they lend their money to the firm and in return they get a fixed rate of interest. Equity investors participate in the management of the business. Debt investors do not. So why would equity investors participate in the voting, would have voting rights or participate in the decision making process? Because they are also called the residual owners. And since they are being paid in the end, there is no guarantee of their profits. So they are given a chance in the management of the business and to help the management take decisions. Residual profit. So what is residual? Residual means what is left after everything else is paid. So the residual profit of the business belongs to the equity investors. The debt investors' claim is restricted to the periodic coupon and principal payment on the maturity. So as I explained that the debt investors only have a limited interest in the business till the point their interest has been paid, till the point their principal has been returned. Post that, the equity investors will continue to have interest and they would continue to associate receiving residual profits of the business from the company. So due to the fundamental differences, there are two distinct asset classes in which the investors have to make a choice. So investors would have to first study the features of both of these and then decide whether they want to enter as an equity holder or as a debt holder, right? So equity represents a risky long-term growth-oriented investment that can show a high volatility in performance depending on how the underlying business is performing. Now, equity being the very last to be paid is obviously very risky. It is for the long run because it's a part of the capital structure or the entire capital employed for a business. The growth oriented investment that can show a high volatility in performance. So the equity shares of a company are listed in the market, and I'm sure all of you know of the basics of stock market, that whenever a company is trading in the stock market, its shares are available and that can be purchased by the equity investors proportionate to whatever amount they want to invest. So per share value is available, and depending on the number of shares they want to invest it, they can do it by number of shares into the price per share. That is the investment they make. But these prices can be highly volatile due to some market demand and supply factors. अब इन चीजों की वजह से क्या होगा, the risk equity component of the market will become more risky. और रिस्क है तो इश्क है, एंड रिस्क है तो बहुत रिटर्न भी है, which means अगर इक्विटी रिस्की है, लॉन्ग टर्म है, ग्रोथ ओरिएंटेड है, तो it will also come at a better rate as compared to the debt holders, because debt holders are anyway being paid a fixed rate of return, right? So there is no assurance on the return to the equity holders since the value of the investment is bound to fluctuate. तो उनकी जो value of investment है वो भी grow कर सकती है बहुत ज़्यादा times, and they are not authorized to get a fixed rate of interest. For that reason, there is no assurance कि उनको कितना return मिलेगा, because it depends on the volatility of the business. जो debt holders होते हैं, they obviously have a lower risk, steady income oriented investment. They generate a steady rate of return provided the business remains profitable. अब obviously अगर business profitable होगा तभी only in that case it will be able to pay the interest obligations on the debt. But again, debt is risky. Why? Because irrespective of whether or not there is a profit or loss, the company has to pay the fixed obligation. So it has lower risk. It is steady. Steady. Why? Because you get the principal amount. All you have to do is pay a fixed rate of interest to the debt holders. Income-oriented investment, it generates a steady rate of return provided the business remains profitable and does not default in its payments. If the business defaults on its payments regularly, what will happen? It will impact its score. It will impact its credibility in the market. Since all the residual benefits of deploying capital go to the equity investor, return to the equity holder is higher than that of the debt investors. So remember that the return which is attributable to the equity shareholder will always be more than the return of the debt investors. So what is the return on the debt investors? Let's say 10% is the rate of interest on debt. And what the return on equity shareholders would mean? It would mean the ROE, which is return on equity, right? So if the return on equity is 15%, then yes, it is an ideal situation. ROE should at least be more than the cost of debt. So for example, a business borrows funds at 12% and is able to generate a return of 14% on the assets. So in this case, 14 would be the cost of debt, but the extra 2% which is earned by the assets, this would benefit not the debt holders, but the equity holders of the business. The downside will also hurt the equity holders, because what if the return they earn is less than the fixed rate of interest of 12%? Downside will also hurt the equity investors who may not earn anything if the return is lower than the borrowing cost and if the business is failing. Now, choosing between equity and debt is a trade-off. Why is it a trade-off? Because investors who desire lower risk and are willing to accept a lower stable return choose the debt. But if they seek a higher return, they may not be able to earn it without taking on the additional risk of the equity investment. So it's a trade-off. Why? Because higher the risk, higher the return, right? So if you take more risk, which is equity, you have to, it can also be backed by more return in the market by the equity shareholders. However, if the investors desire a low risk profile, if they are not willing to take a lot of risk, then they also have to accept a stable income source in the form of interest, and should not expect that their returns will exceed the rate of interest that they earn on their borrowings. Okay, so investors would obviously want to allocate their entire capital into some part as equity and some part as a borrowing to the company. The choice depends on the expected return, the investing time period, the risk appetite, and their needs. So in this chapter, going ahead, we will capture the features of the equity and debt market along with the other instruments which borrow features both from equity and debt. So we'll have equity instruments, debt instruments, and we'll talk about the hybrid instruments. So I'll see you in the next session.